Welcome to our Staffcop webinar. So the theme today is insider threat protection with Staffcop. It's the leading insider risk management tool that helps you to detect, monitor, and prevent internal data leaks. And in this session, you will also discover how it complements your existing security layers for complete cybersecurity protection. Our speakers today will be Joe and also Dimitri. So I'll just pass the floor to them and they'll introduce themselves. So I think Joe, you can start first.
No, thank you. Let me just replace the current share, right? Okay, let me know if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, can see.
All right. So thanks a lot. I think thanks for these sessions today, and we are warmly welcome our partner Staffcop. And I will just go a bit to discuss, what is the reason that we have been, working with Staffcop, as we have been in the space of application securities for almost about a decade, in the market. So, I mean, we started from doing some application protections, especially from software vendors, industrial independent service providers, software providers, and we have even some end customer who write software. Then we help them to protect the codes, and then that we see even after some times about 6 years ago. I mean, there is a booming of mobile applications, that really replacing the entire, I mean, like the desktop. I mean, especially consumer customers, I mean, the access to the websites. The gain is tremendous. I think a lot of people are using mobile today, or maybe even the tablets, and that is also becoming one of the key position where people try to protect that area. And of course, when website is getting even much more at once, we're talking about there's a lot of transactions, things that can be done on the web, and that also become a crucial thing where everything is going to be e-wallet, e-governments, I mean, e-meetings, and that is also a very crucial point. So we help customers from really talking about protecting the codes until the mobile, until the webs, which is now advanced protection for the website. We also see that, I mean, there's going even more like people to concern about if the development of the applications are actually also using some very much like open source resources, and that also actually make us to explore with our partners, scan this to even further cover at that point of the SDLC, the system development cycle. And from them, we got even more to talk about API protection and 0 days protection. And we work with Penta, that how can we even install something that is not based on signature, but based on algorithm. And that can be really help to pick up some things that very bad if something that 0 day happen. And that become quite our portfolio for sometimes even when Lean were to be introduced, to even teach people about, to educate what is the end user, how to have a best practice in using your exploring the vulnerability and using the system for the organization. So it's really sometimes, for us to work on this way. But however, I think after sometimes we found that that's not enough, because one of the biggest threat that can be really something that internal, I mean, that is not external, because even whatever you guarded, you can guard from the application from carrying in development and the codes after you publish, or you even push up the system, but you still have quite a number of risks from there. So I mean, I call it the loopholes of today in application security. Why? It's like, SDLC is very, very long process. It's going to be like sometimes a software project may take about 3 to 6 month time, and it is very, very costly. That you got a lot of engineers who are trying to write a software, purpose software, generic software. I mean, that can be quite a lot of them. So if you actually having a loophole and people can be in between, has been exposed to the risks of your codes going out during the SDLC cycle, and that that can be something that is a big chunk of investment can be wasted. So I mean, need not to say that we have like AI, ChatGPT today, Gemini, DeepSeek. A lot of engineers, programmers are even trying to, correct or verify the scripts, on the website. And once they got it, I mean, means some part of the module of the object may be also shared, elsewhere in the world. And if there are also some have a OSS mind, oriented. They may even share privately, to the OSS portals that without even letting anyone know. And the most common things that we see is that the programmers, the coders, sometimes may share the skills in between their own community, and that become also a key area. Some IP and algorithm may be leaked during that time, and I think this is more like a unintentional. But of course, we cannot really talk about, the importance of the intentional, the organized cybercrime, that people that really want to, reverse engineer, look into what you have in your organization, take your apps away, and all these things become some organized cybercrime if they are able to really approach or get into the network, or the community or the team resources within your organization. And last but not least is the competitors spying. And you may think maybe it's something that is not happening, but it happens all the time. When you are really like successful enough, many companies will even spend time to even talk about getting some people to be really look into your organization, break into your organization, trying to interview and get whatever is it. So without a strong internal governance, you may see a lot of challenges, that your IP may not be well protected. Okay, so that's why we work with Staffcop, and I think that that would be something with their experience that can really cover our portfolio in the future to provide our customers to be a much more equipped tools to really, to take care of the entire, end-to-end cycle of their organization. Yeah. So I hereby, also introduce, the Staffcop. From there, then you take over that you can start about your site to explain in detail for the audience.
Thank you very much, Joe, for the introduction. I'll be quickly sharing my screen. Could you please confirm if you can actually see it?
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, good day, everyone. My name is Dimitri, and I'm going to be your Staffcop expert today. Welcome to our session, The Enemy Within, Insider Threat Protection with Staffcop. Actually, our agenda for today is quite intense. First of all, we'll define what insider risks and threats really are and how exactly they differ. Then we'll speak about the rising risk of insider threats and take a look at some numbers. Further on, we'll dive deeper into the Asia Pacific context with some cases and surveys. Then we'll see what are the actual costs of insider risks and inefficiency, and what are the main challenges businesses are facing today when it comes to insider risks. Then I'll be pleased to introduce Staffcop, tell you what the tool essentially is about, how it actually protects businesses, and what arsenal of tools it can offer to any business. And then we'll review a few real world use cases to see how Staffcop is performing in action, how it can mitigate serious risks. And then I'll be pleased to answer your questions, if any. So let's get started. First of all, let's differ what are insider risks versus insider threats. The main difference is degree of intention. So insider risks are actually unintentional actions, simply caused by cyber illiteracy of the employees, negligence, in other words, just a human factor, which could lead to leakage of personal customer data or commercial information. On the contrary, insider threats are fraudulent actions with the idea to deliberately damage the company or, for example, capitalize on the sensitive data. This could be corporate espionage, this could be theft of the client database, or side projects. In any case, both of them lead to reputational risks, fines, and lost profits of your company. Uh, the rising risk of insider threats is backed by some numbers I wanted to share with you today. So, for example, an average annual loss per one company due to insider threats is 11.5 million today, according to ID Watchdog, while 90% of cybersecurity professionals indicate that insider threats are as hard or even harder to detect than external attackers. So here we're looking at the shift of priorities when it comes to risks. And almost 70% of employees have actually bypassed the cybersecurity policies in the past year, according to Gartner. Meanwhile, only 39% of organizations have actually an insider threat program in place, according to iStar Global. So that's not a big number at all. And now let's take a look at the few Asia Pacific cases within the last few years. So there is a Korea Aerospace Research Institute, and an employee in this institute is under investigation for allegedly leaking the sensitive rocket technology data related to the Nuri launch vehicle project. The high national security concern is raised because we are here at the intersection of the airspace and defense industries, and specifically when the insider has an exit path to the private sector, and that is exactly where the information was leaked, it is even more impactful. Another case is Aisun, which is basically a Chinese state link contractor. So it's a private company. However, due to the leak, a few documents were revealed detailing hacking tools and espionage targeting multiple Southeast Asian countries such as Malaysia, Hong Kong, Taiwan. So in this case, we see even though the company is private, uh, they could be still in ties with let's say, secret intelligence services of a government. Now, let's take a look at a few surveys that took place in Southeast Asia. For example, 91% of CISOs in Singapore reported actual material data loss in the past year, and they all pointed to departing employees as the main cause of this, highlighting insider threat at the top level in the region. There was another survey in the same region where professionals indicate that actually 70% expect insider threats to grow within the next year, and three-fourth of them believe that AI as a tool is boosting insider attack tactics. This could be phishing or misuse of privilege. So in this case, we see that modern technology is not only making our life easier, but also raising more concerns. Now, let's speak about what insider risks and inefficiency actually cost for any business. But before, I'd like to highlight that Staffcop is actually based at the intersection of two big market segments. So there's insider risk management that involves data protection, compliance, and fraud detection. And on the other hand, there's workforce analytics covering productivity, time tracking of the team, and behavior analysis. So at the end of the day, we would like to provide you with secure and productive workforce. So why exactly we decided to focus in this particular niche and have been enriching our expertise there? Well, for example, because almost 70% of security incidents are actually caused by employees, so internal factors. The average cost of a data breach is reaching $5 million. And that is just one breach. And definitely this figure is going to exceed 5 million in the next years. Another risk factor is growing remote workforce. So by 2030, the growth rate is expected to reach 25%, and that is just within 5 years. But what's also interesting, specifically when it comes to remote workforce, that according to research, only 60% of the working time is truly productive. So the question is, what are the employees doing 40% of the time? At the end of the day, we have to consider a few challenges that companies are facing today. I would say there are key three groups of them. So first of all, data leaks. These lead to high financial losses, damage to brand reputation. So at the end of the day, these insider threats are actually consuming both tangible and intangible resources of any business. Then there is a workforce efficiency challenge. Well, the consequences are quite obvious. There's a revenue leakage, There's rising operational costs. And again, as we just mentioned, uh, employees are productive only 60% of the time. So there has to be somebody doing this remaining 40% of the job. So this means overhiring, this means raising cost. And at the end of the day, high employee turnover. Last but not least, lack of IT oversight. Right now, most of the businesses are constructing complex systems. There's bare metal, there's multiple software products used within the company. And if this is not properly managed, we could be facing costly downtime, security vulnerabilities, and growing IT expenses, which of course is disrupting our business growth. So the answer to this concern is simple, is Staffcop. Let me say again that Staffcop is combining insider risk management, workforce analytics, and remote administration all in one solution. The main idea of our tool is to protect sensitive data, monitor and analyze employee activity, reduce insider risks before they actually turn into costly problems. Just a few numbers about us. We have been developing this very particular niche for some 13 years by now, spreading to 45 countries and protecting over 250,000 of species around the world. When you ask how does Staffcop actually protect the business? Well, there are three main directions. Of course, we need to identify fraudulent activities and security violation. Then we need to detect the threats as early as possible so that the impact is minimal. And of course, also to uncover the productivity bottlenecks by tracking user activities and behavior. And of course, in most severe cases, we need to block and prevent unauthorized access and stop sensitive data leaks. But to be more specific, let's take a look at the arsenal of Staffcop tools that are used to catch an insider. Of course, there's a whole big list of features, but let's just speak about the key groups of them. First of all, of course, user activity monitoring. We're speaking about tracking apps, websites, system logins, video calls, messaging. But for all of this, we also need some media evidence, some visual evidence. That is why there are also screenshots, webcam, and audio recording available. When it comes to productivity aspect, there is time tracking and categorization. So all of the employee activities are categorized into productive versus unproductive. So we see the big picture of the typical working day of the employee. It is also backed by different reports on their efficiency and behavior. As mentioned, for the IT oversight, we need to do inventory of apps, hardware, and Wi-Fi usage to make sure our resources are used in an efficient way. For example, do employees really use this new software that the company has just purchased? How many hours do they spend there per day? So we need to understand the ROI of any such tool, and Staffcop is a perfect instrument to do this. When we do face an incident and are trying to investigate it, Staffcop admin is provided with various logs, anomaly detection reports, uh, and data visualization to quickly see who, when exactly, did what at what particular machine. So this way we save a lot of time and find the source of our leakage quickly. Communication is also an everyday process within any company. That is why we need to monitor email, web, file sharing, and cloud uploads. And I also have to say that removable USB devices remain at the top of risk factors and channels of leaking the information. That is why it is also enabled with Staffcop. And when we're speaking about finding bottlenecks and risky areas where we have to intervene immediately, there's also possibility to monitor the machines in real time and take control over the session to stop undesired, unnecessary behavior by our user. So we can manage and lock up to 16 PCs at a time. But now, from theory to practice, let's also consider a few real-world use cases where Staffcop had to take action to mitigate these risks. So our first case is an accountant that was trying to earn money within his own company and managed to earn 1 million within a year. But what actually happened? We have a profile of an accountant, of course, with a very high trust level, uh, reliable by management, responsible for financial records, so he had access to all the bank accounts. During internal audit, it was actually revealed that this particular accountant fabricated transactions and rerouted all of these funds to his personal bank account, manipulating financial logs with over a full year to conceal the fraud. So how Staffcop helped in this very particular situation? It is very interesting that at the beginning, Staffcop was used for a totally different purpose, for simply monitoring the working hours of the employees within the company. But then Staffcop was repurposed to track the accountant's system activity when those suspicions arose. So at the end of the day, it enabled to have an audit with some reports that uncovered the fraudulent behavior of this very particular accountant. So when we speak about the impact for the company, of course, it is significant. It is over $1 million embezzled, and a recovery took a lot of time and extensive resources. So the long-term risk is obvious: financial instability and reduced trust in internal controls. I would say the main takeaway from this case is that even trusted employees with high level of trust can become insiders, and only continuous monitoring and behavior analysis can help us protect from these cases. Another interesting scenario with a USB device, as mentioned, it is one of the top channels for leaking the data. So we have a very typical situation. There's an employee planning to leave the company. Uh, the trust level is the knowledge of the company's data collection system. So the IS team noticed some unusual USB activity. Files were being copied to a USB drive from a PC whose user was even unaware of it. So investigation revealed that the neighboring employee, the one who was planning to resign, used the colleague's workstation by observing the password to secretly copy confidential files to a USB drive. So there was a set of instruments of Staffcop that was used to mitigate this risk. First of all, special filters were set to track file recording on USB devices. Then the event lens, that is the area where all the data is displayed, highlighted the specific event and USB activity. And then in order to find the exact source of such a leakage, some filters were used by user, device type, and event type to identify this source and pattern of misuse. The impact of the company could have been very severe and negative: potential loss of sensitive data and intellectual property. So this case really highlights risk during employee offboarding when not properly observed. So even employees with direct access can exploit proximity and observation, and monitoring USB usage is significant. Last but not least, also very common scenario. So how do we actually know when an employee is planning to quit? Here we have a profile of an employee who is planning to resign. This is relevant to many organizations when surprise resignations disrupt everyday operations. So a staff member began to prepare for resigning without informing and notifying the employer, and it would have caused disruption, but early detection allows the company to manage the transition smoothly. Here, Staffcop helped again with another set of instruments. So there's a particular job sites filter that tracked how much time the employee spent on job search websites. Moreover, we use dictionary-based monitoring. So detecting job hunting keywords in emails, intercepted files, and via keyboard logging helped to flag resignation-related behavior early on. So when we speak about the impact for an organization, in this case, of course, a sudden departure of any employee affects team productivity and project timelines. There is a security risk as well because departing employees can mishandle or take confidential information with them when not offboarded properly. And of course, there is a productivity drop because without early notice, the company is losing resources, taking time to recruit somebody else, and redistribute responsibilities efficiently. So, at the end of the day, only proactive monitoring of such a job hunting behavior can give us time to prepare and protect both the workflow and sensitive data. So employee exit planning becomes rather strategic and controlled than reactive and spontaneous. So I believe these are the key topics I wanted to cover today. And let me remind you that we're here to protect your data and empower your workforce. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dimi. Thanks a lot. So now we open the session for questions, if any. I mean, from there, if there's any question. But I myself got a question before any question from the floor. I mean, anyway, just from the use case that you share, right? I mean, how many, is it easy to use it to as evidence that you can put up to the cybercrime? Normally, can it be used for that? Let's say if you if you catch there's staff that actually leaking a particular intentionally the codes, towards the competitors. So from there, normally in the cases that you experienced before, are they able to be presented to the court?
Yes, this is a very good question. Thank you, Joe. Well, Staffcop in this case allows to actually gather the evidence when we speak about particular cases. Of course, in case of any allegations, you need to know the specific name of the user. You need to know and be able to prove that it was indeed his or her PC, and also have some visual evidence. That is why only having all of these components can actually build a strong case in the court. So you have the name of the machine, you have the exact timing of the incident, you have the name of the user, you have the recording from the camera. So we have the face recognition instrument as well, and only having all of this data will be able to actually present a strong case in court. And Staffcop allows to collect all of this data.
Thank you. Any question from the floor? You can anytime just unmute yourself and to ask Nimi about the experience that they have. But how about, I mean, if there's any things that happens, right? Let's say the can it be action driven and integrating Staffcop solution to other IT system, back office system? For example, if I detected something happens, in between this abnormal activities, in the network, can I just integrate to my asset management or network management to shut down, to send a particular, like instruction to the back office to shut down the particular person account or something like that?
Yes, we're always open for integrations, and we do provide some API keys for this particular scenario. But for example, when we're speaking about shutting down a particular account, there are even easier instruments to do so. So with Staffcop remote control functionality, Staffcop admin can immediately not only monitor, so see in the real time what's going on the screen of the machine of this particular user, but also take over the control and just shut them down right there within Staffcop console.
That's good. That's good. Good to hear that.
And if you want to be duly notified, you can simply enable a policy. So whenever the policy is triggered, the notification is enabled, either your email or even Telegram, which is commonly used these days as well. So you can act immediately and just stop such a behavior within seconds. Thank you for the question, Joe.
No problem. Seems like we're quite quiet
Yeah.
from the floor. No question.
Hi, this is Brian here.
Brian,
So
yeah.
I have one question here. So I think throughout years there is a quite number of this may not be the solutions, but I'm just wondering if something that we can tap on, especially in terms of the malware. When the people bring the notebook, from outside and comes in, and then um, that is where all the spread of the malware, there is a malicious script, throughout the network. Is there any way that the agent will be able to detect that it's a malicious intent script or abnormal behavior that it intend to perform, and then immediately this particular laptop or PC or the device or equipment will be isolated out from the network entirely before it get even worse?
Thank you for your question, Brian.
No problem.
Yes, user behavior analytics is also, we believe, a very important functionality for such a tool. So, with Staffcop, we do also enable employee profiling. So at the end of the day, whenever the agents are installed on the employees' PCs, we will have the list of our employees with their profiles, with their employee cards, and we can also spread them and nicely categorize them by their departments. And each employee can be assigned with a scoring. There's also the risk level for any type of activity. So at the end of the day, if we see something abnormal, again, we could be easily triggered and notified that this is not a typical behavior of such an employee, or this employee, this particular employee is within risk area. So he's the one that should be specifically monitored and then maybe raise special attention. So we can definitely enable this.
I think the question from Brian is more towards if the employee themselves doesn't avail. So because for the notebook they use has been infected by malware, so the script is actually automated themselves to spread across the network. Will Staffcop also act like a protection software to detect any abnormal activities and then straight away
Yeah,
iron them out from there?
yeah, exactly.
So meaning that, let's say, an employee by negligence downloaded some malicious,
Yeah. He doesn't know. He or she doesn't know. Yeah.
yes. I mean, also we can enable, for example, constant monitoring by, for example, enabling screenshot batches, which is
Mhm.
basically working like a video, but it actually takes screenshots every few seconds. So in case something suspicious is going on, when the uh, staff cop admin or information security officer is there, of course, they will see immediately what's going on, and they can always, uh, bring special attention to this very particular employee. So they
Mhm.
see where exactly this is coming from, so they can intervene immediately and just shut down this computer and take them, let's say, out of the network.
Okay, thanks. Any more question from Brian or Ryan or maybe Edwin, Cheryl, Aurora? So
I
I
have
mean,
no question.
yeah, the maybe the last question from my side is that so what kind of like skill set or the challenge that normally you see if enterprise, from my point is that a lot of customers are to protecting the intellectual properties, so they want to protect themselves during the SDLC cycle, but even for enterprise, so what kind of challenges is that can be happen when they want to start to deploy staff cop normally that you foresee?
Well, the one of the challenges is maybe they will first need some assistance, categorizing all of this data, because there's really a lot. So knowing how to work with this data, knowing how to make as many processes automatized rather than manual, uh, to be able to control everything, to be able to see what happened and really use StaffCop to the full extent, could be the question, because uh, there's a lot StaffCop has to offer. That is why we're always glad to provide initial training sessions and demo guides where we really walk through typical scenarios, So not just showing what interfaces are there, but actually discovering typical cases that happen in real business and what instruments of staff code could be used. For example, building a custom report. So for example, let's say customer needs to have daily report on this particular set of employees, department by department, and see the, I don't know, top latecomers within the company, see if their resources are used properly. So this is something we're glad to offer.
Okay, cool. Thanks. I got no. I think Edwin mentioned that the question also from him also asked by our question just now. Your answer already. So any more question if from the floor? Yeah. Okay. So you want to summarize anything that you want to the final words from you to talk about this? I mean, today.
Yes. Well, just to add up to whatever was mentioned today. Well, insider risks and threats isn't not something vague uh, and something that could potentially happen in the future. It is unfortunately the reality of today's business, and as we see now, the trends are changing. So the external attacks, the external threats are kind of on the background, while the internal threats and insider risk are at the forefront of cybersecurity. So I think this has to be and is already becoming the priority for the businesses worldwide. So it's only highlighting the name of our today's session, that the enemy is already indeed within the organization.
Thanks, Timmy. So I mean the key takeaways is that I mean anything that you can protect from outside, but the most important that people will always neglect it is actually the insider risks and insider threats from there. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Laura.
Thank
I
you
mean you
all.
can you can close the session, Laura.
Okay, so I thank you, Dimitri, and thank you, Joe, for your sharing. So personally, I was a bit confused between what is insider risk and insider threat. So that particular slide cleared it up for me.
It's great to hear, Laura. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so I believe we all learned something new about protecting our from within, cybersecurity from within. So if anybody has any other questions, you can just message us through our social media or